What do you think of that?
Oh, that's not true at all.
For Salvatore Cornicelli, this moment is decades in the making.
I went and told people there's stuff down there.
But to understand his disbelief, we have to understand that decades ago, he reported seeing 55-gallon drums buried at his hometown park.
We've got a lot of jobs to do on the island, from building planes and missiles.
In 1962, Grumman donated 18 acres of undeveloped land to the town of Oyster Bay. The idea was for the town to transform the land into a park. So they did. Bethpage Community Park. People loved it.
We were 7 years old, we had midget football. We were the kings of Little League, we had dugouts.
Ronald Maffa, like most Bethpage neighbors, saw this park as a beacon, a blessing. The thing is, the park used to be Grumman's dumping grounds, and an area where Grumman for years disposed toxic chemicals directly into the soil, causing contamination that will be discovered decades later.
They decided to dig right in front of the flagpole.
It's now the 90s, and Cornicelli, a parks maintenance supervisor for the town of Oyster Bay, describes a day at Bethpage Community Park he will never forget.
All of a sudden, there's like a crash, you know? So I'm looking down there, and all these 55-gallon drums are exposed. Cover that back up. So I got pissed because I knew something was wrong just by, not that them things, I could have thought they were water, I don't know. But the way his attitude was, because he was my boss, cover everything up.
After his manager's reaction, Cornicelli began asking questions.
I was like a thorn in their side.
Years passed, and the drinking water near Grumman became a concern. Agencies realized toxic chemicals from the soil contamination were seeping into the water supply, creating a miles-long plume. A plume polluting the aquifer used as drinking water for tens of thousands. And neighbors who live near the park say cancer is commonplace, a connection officials have not confirmed to be linked.
Well, when we were kids, the families were all going through cancer stuff. They always give you that way out. You know, they'll tell you that there's not enough information to say that it's related to that.
The park's ball field suddenly closed in 2002. Until this day, remains closed.
It was kind of disheartening that we still don't have a park. And I don't know when we're going to get a park.
It's 2016. A retired Cornicelli walks into a Bethpage bar owned by friend John Camados, who had recently become a water district commissioner.
He had to get it off his chest. We sat in the back room right here, and he said that he had some information that we thought it was viable, so we turned him on to the DEC.
Cornicelli reported what he saw to the Department of Environmental Conservation. Then, here's nothing back. Until this year, when Newsday handed him the report.
We have completed our review of the potential for buried drums. It's our conclusion that buried drums do not exist beneath the park.
For the first time since coming forward, Cornicelli is hearing about the investigation the DEC did back in 2016 following his report. An investigation that claims no drums were found, no drums exist, and that if there were any drums, like he claims, they were likely removed with previous projects at the park, which means there's no need to dig deeper or dig elsewhere.
This can't be right. They knew them barrels were there, and how could they say they don't exist?
Current DEC officials tell Newsday they defend their review of Cornicelli's tip. They said the agency not only knew Oyster Bay had excavated a large part of the park, including where he saw the drums in the 90s, but that Grumman would eventually have to remediate the remaining ball field portion where the other drums were recently found. A Grumman spokesperson released a statement that said in part, "We remain committed to protecting the health and well-being of the community as we address environmental conditions in Bethpage." April 2024. Drums exist. More chemical drums.
6 chemical drums.
55-gallon chemical drums.
3 more chemical drums have been removed from Bethpage Community Park. In less than 2 months, workers for Grumman have dug up more than 20 drums encased in concrete near the still-closed ball field, and all have tested positive for dangerous chemicals, including arsenic, lead, and a known cancer-causing solvent, trichloroethylene, aka TCE.
Despite the findings, the DEC said there's no evidence that the recent discovery contributed at all to the contamination.
So here's the thing. Back in April, they made the discovery on this side of the park near the ball field. But the thing is, Sal made his discovery on this side of the park, which leads people to believe that this drum discovery is just the beginning. Cornicelli and others are convinced there are more drums.
You're going to find stuff there, no matter where you go.
I'm not giving you 1,000% sure. I'm giving you 5,000% sure.
And until they're found, Cornicelli is left with moments that haunt him because he feels not enough was done decades ago.
Every parade ended at that park in Bethpage, from the fire department to Bethpage Park. So every time we went, brings little tears in my eyes. We used to stop right there, and the flag and everything. And in the meantime, I think there's junk under there. It wasn't very nice.
Ken Bufa, Newsday TV.